What has happened now is there was an initiative before COVID that we're using technology in the classroom, but even now more so because the schools have invested in that technology. It is very common in every school district that they have a technology initiative in some way, that it's expected that the teachers use technology. So that's all fine and well, but that's just one more thing that the teacher needs to figure out how to do. And it's one more thing that they have to go find resources for. It's like that one more thing.
Let me tell you about the topic and how this came about. So Jacey and I both share a coaching program that we both are in. And I kept seeing her sharing about all the stuff she was doing with teachers. And of course, I was sharing a lot about all the stuff I was doing with children's book authors. And we finally got together and said, there's got to be some synergy here. What can we learn? And I just was picking her brain about what is she doing? How are teachers using books? How can we connect better? Because if you go onto Amazon, even a lot of the teachers' picks and all of those things are traditionally published books. And we have amazing, gorgeous children's books out there that are being created by independent authors. So Jacey and I got talking about the types of things she does, and I learned so much from our time together. I wanted to bring her in and talk about it. And we've got some things brewing that we're going to hear. But before we get into all of that, let me just read a little bit about this amazing speaker that we have here. Jacey Erickson is a former high school business teacher turned entrepreneur as a technology integrator for K-12 schools. Jacey works directly with teachers in person and online, coaching teachers on how to use technology in the classroom, as well as curating resources that align with their curriculum. I love that you are working closely with teachers, Jacey. She holds a master's degree in education, is an online education instructor at a local university, and has presented at many educational and technology conferences. She lives in North Dakota with her husband and 3 boys. Jacey, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Thank you for the opportunity to connect with authors. And I'm excited to create this connection between teachers and authors. You guys have so many amazing books. Just the few that April has shared with me, I'm just blown away. So I'm excited to bridge that gap and create content that teachers love and moves your book forward and gets it into the hands of more teachers, kids around the world. So I'm excited to be here.
Tell me a little bit, Jacey, about how you work with teachers. Like, what are the things that teachers are struggling with, and how do you play a role so that we can kind of get that background before we jump into some of the things that we're going to be talking about?
Sure. So before COVID, I feel like we have a pre-COVID and an after-COVID situation in almost everything, right? So education prior to COVID, schools were buying technology, but not as much as they had to after COVID. And so what happened during COVID, teachers in schools, the schools had to invest in the technology to go one-to-one, basically. And teachers had to become overnight teachers. And so overnight online teachers. So what has happened now is there was an initiative before COVID that we're using technology in the classroom, but even now more so because the schools have invested in that technology. It is very common in every school district that they have a technology initiative in some way, that it's expected that the teachers use technology. So that's all fine and well, but that's just one more thing that the teacher needs to figure out how to do. And it's one more thing that they have to go find resources for. It's like that one more thing. And so what I've done with my business is I actually go into the classroom and I'm able to try new technology with teachers for the first time. I'm able to be there in the classroom when they're trying it with students. We're able to troubleshoot things that immediately happen. I also curate resources for teachers. So I will ask them what they're working on, what their standards are, what, the curriculum they're using. And then I go out and find the resources that match those things. So I'm also a curator. So I'm essentially a time saver. Background would be with technology, and we're always improving academic achievement and improving student engagement, all while making the teacher's life easier. So that's what I get to do every day with technology tools. Mostly I come in, I'm not, there's a big difference between like a technology coordinator at a school. They're a fixer of technology. They're kind of behind the scenes. And I'm a technology coach or integrator working directly on the education side of it and getting those tools in the hands of our teachers and making sure that they're trained, because most schools, it's like, just go figure it out, go learn another thing. And so I'm able to take that weight off. I would say a lot of the United States schools have either a one-to-one, meaning every student has their own device, whether it's a laptop or an iPad in the classroom, or they have access to technology in some way. So whether it's a classroom cart, so they are using it, teachers are using it to project on the board, to annotate over their work. Students are using it for that interactivity. And my favorite way to use it is teacher is teaching and the students are on their device actively answering, because we make the students responsible for their own learning. If we know that all 25 of our students have answered this one question that we asked, instead of just Susie in the front, that asks every time, answers every time. With technology, we can demand an answer. That sounds a little aggressive, but we can require an answer from everyone using these tech tools. And the teacher knows exactly in that room who knows it, who maybe needs more help. They can get a formative assessment really quick, really fast, and a great snapshot using technology without really much extra work. So they're going to see things like when they are evaluated, there's going to be like technology evaluation pieces, like, are you using your smartboard? Are you using the iPads? And it's not just like, yeah, I let my kids go on the iPad, right? It's always connecting back to the goal, back to the objective, back to the standard, and that's where you would bring in a tech coach to help with that, to make sure that they're actually utilizing the investment, because our administrators, they're all about, the money that we spent on this. They want good learning, but really, they built this infrastructure and paid for it. So they want to make sure that the teachers are utilizing it. There's a lot of times that'll be on a teacher's review, how they're using technology in the classroom. We're also preparing students for the 21st century. We, know that technology is going to stay around. And so we need to be preparing our students to live in that environment and also safely and ethically live in that environment too. So there's a lot of digital citizenship that goes along with it to make sure that we are preparing them for the real world and being safe. So the investment, yes, probably teacher evaluation, they're expected to use it. But really where I come from, it's all about student engagement. No one's sleeping in the back of the room, and improving, academic. So engagement in academics and teachers' lives easier. So
tell us about the types of technology and where, this whole word gamification, like how are you incorporating that? Because that seems like so much fun. Kids are always wanting to be, playing games and doing things. It sounds so much more engaging to me than just plopping them, or giving them a book to read or whatever.
Yep. So there's a couple different ways to do it. There's definitely live engagement. So we can have a lesson that's going on, and we can have the students answering live right on their devices. So teacher gets the data instantly. Students are immersed in the learning, and it's just a great interaction because everybody's engaged and the teacher knows exactly what to do next. If everybody knows what they're talking about, everybody answers correctly, she can move on, he can move on. If only 50% of the students knew it live, she can instantly redirect. And I keep saying he, the teacher, can instantly redirect and make sure that we dial in on whatever, they didn't know. She doesn't have to wait till the assignment is handed in and find out that 50% of her students didn't know how to do the order of operations, right? We can find out that live. The other thing is so gamification, you're making it interactive. But the other way that we gamify is that we have student learning paths. And so the teacher there's plenty of tools. There's so many tools that we can use, but they get on a learning path where the computer, the algorithm, will decide what that specific student needs to see next. What type of question do they need to see next? It's almost like benchmarks. Every student gets exactly what they need on their own adaptive learning path while playing an interactive game. So they're getting fed these educational questions, And then they're getting rewarded with these little mini games, which the kids love. They earn stars, or they earn pets, or they earn, like all these
gold coins the other day.
Gold coins. Yep. So it's just and the other thing too is then we get data back, we get it back faster, but we get more of it because the student is engaged versus a worksheet that you've got 20 questions. A student is excited to keep going and keep playing the game. So they will, in turn churn out questions faster. So yeah, that's a way that we gamify. I mean, there's a lot of different tools that we use, but yeah, there's a lot of ways to gamify. It's all about engagement and getting our academic performance improving.
So tell us how children's books can be gamified. Like what kinds of things happen? And can you talk about the platforms, the various different platforms? Because to me, I think if we as children's book authors are moving towards providing things that are all ready to plug in in these areas where teachers are already being required to go, that means that adoption in the classroom of our books can be that much easier. Would you agree with that, Jacey?
Right, exactly. And that's what teachers are looking for. They're looking for those classroom packs, those lessons that are already done for them, those lessons that already have activities that can just be assigned and done. And so that's, we're looking at taking that a step further and gamifying it with these tech tools. And I'll let you know, side note, when teachers come to me, if I haven't contracted with their school, because I've contracted with quite a few schools, but the ones that find me online, I'm known for giving the free and user-friendly tech tools. So it's the tech tools that I work with. They don't have to pay to use as a teacher. There are definitely plus subscriptions that they can buy and the district can have. But if they've seen me on YouTube or they are getting a recommendation from me, it is a free tech tool. So that is huge. That's kind of what I've become known for. So what type of tools are we looking at? The top three that I would say right now for authors would be Blooket, Blooket. And this is free for teachers to use, of course. Kahoot is another one. I don't know, show of hands. Has anyone heard of Kahoot? Kahoot. So that is kind of the original. Kahoot is the original. The Blooket and Kahoot are very similar. Kahoot is it's however fast you answer the question, and you have to get it correct. You get points depending upon how fast you answer the question. I will say a lot of times with the Kahoots, it's the same kids winning every time because it's just the fastest, most correct one. Okay. There can be a time and place for this. I like a Kahoot at the very end of a chapter where everybody, had an opportunity to learn all that good stuff. A Blooket, on the other hand, is still multiple choice questions, but after they answer a question correct, they're playing a mini game, and their score, the leaderboard, is based on the mini game and not based on their academic knowledge. So Johnny, that isn't, super high academically, he can win that game and he can have that, first place trophy. The other thing is that some of them, they have some luck involved, like the one we're going to try tonight. You're just going to choose a treasure chest, and it may be good and it may be bad, or it may be swapped with the leader, and all of a sudden what it does is it creates that engagement and incentive for Johnny to keep going. He could win. And so I like Blooket in that way. The other one that I like is Formative. It used to be called Go Formative. And Formative is more of your traditional worksheet, but it's an online worksheet. And it has you can insert videos and kids can answer questions about the video. You can have a picture, you can have a multiple choice question. They could have to draw about it. They could have to annotate over a worksheet. And then the cool thing is teachers are really getting into that one. It's been around a while, but it takes a while to create those question sets. But teachers now, they're able to use AI with it, and AI has become, all the rage and everything. But they're able to, put in the well-known books, like To Kill a Mockingbird, and they're able to say chapter 1, To Kill a Mockingbird, and it just generates these questions. Now those are well-known books that it will do that for. So anyway, that is one that teachers are using that is interactive.
There's video involved as well, because that can really bring a children's book alive to have.
Yes.
And a lot of us invest already in video read alouds or video songs and things like that.
And the one up on that one would be Ed Puzzle, EDPUZZLE. Ed Puzzle is going to take your read aloud, and the teacher is going to be able to insert questions at different points in the video. So you're going to be able to be reading, and then it will stop. And the students are all with their iPads or computers, and they have to answer a question based on that. So that's getting the teacher the answers right away. Are they comprehending? Maybe a vocab word popped up, the word arrived, like in puppy pickup day. The word arrived. Do first grade, do they know that? Do they know the difference between arrived and departed? And so we can stop the video and we can make sure that they understand what arrived means. And so that's just us pulling out vocab words within your book and putting those inside of an interactivity.
This is something that you, as we work together to create these things, you're going into the schools and you have the ability to give us real-time feedback about how that's working in the classroom, right?
Yep. So that's what's really cool. Anything that we'd be able to create, I'd be able to match that up with the curriculum inside of a school because I'm in K through 12 schools. And I'd be able to say, okay, I know that, your theme is this of the book. This is your objective. It would make sense for a science teacher, or it would make sense for a counselor, or it would make sense for a second grade classroom. And so I'm able to, try those when they're actually in the classroom and try the activities and kind of troubleshoot, where we need to add more or, anything we've missed or things that went really well. And then I'm able to learn from that, when we adapt books into these Lookits and Kahoots and that sort of.
One of the things I really loved is that you've got an engaged community of teachers as well, and people following your YouTube channel and also your private Facebook group for the teachers and the technology. So I think that they would also be willing to try things and to also provide feedback or raise their hand and say, yes, I'd like to try that.
Right. Yep. And I have a group of them that are like my beta testers, I call them, because beta is a technology word. I feel like everything's in beta, whether they say it or not. We're all in beta. Ourselves are in beta, right? This is a beta version of me. And so I have teachers that are willing to raise their hand, and I have, and I say, hey, this is a little messy right now. Do you want to try this? We know it's not perfect quite yet. Are you willing to just try this in your classroom and give us some feedback on it? And they're excited too, because it's fresh, especially as we fold over into the spring. Springtime is like, once we get through winter, especially where I'm from, it's really cold. And once spring hits and it starts to warm up, classrooms get crazy. Like they just want to be outside, right? So any fresh new activity they can bring in, they are really excited to do. And it's fresh for them too. The cool thing is that the tech tools that I choose, they're easy to use. They're user friendly and they're free. So they don't have a commitment there too. So
Jacey and I have also been talking about virtual field trips. Jacey, you want to explain a little bit more about
So other things that I will do is I will find virtual field trips for schools to go on. So we've been up to Antarctica on a penguin breeding colony and watch the penguins come back and switch with their mates. And they've got this specific call that they do, and switch off the egg. And we've been to aquariums. Anywhere we can get a virtual field trip. What I do is I book that for a class. And then that presenter comes on either one-to-one with that classroom and does the presentation, or it's a group virtual field trip where we have one presenter and multiple classrooms have signed up to learn about this topic. So it's really interactive. It's really cool. Where I see these activities coming in then is we can do author Skypes, and I'll say Skypes, virtual field trips, Zooms. Skype is the old word, but sometimes I call them a Skype because that's what they were called. But author virtual field trips, we set those up. I've done them with authors. A lot of times the scenario is if we do a one-to-one, the author will read the book. The students are able to ask questions about the book, about being an author. And it's just a really fun interaction, because how often do you get to talk with an author who wrote a book? Like that is so cool. And that just ignites, kind of that career possibility too for some of the students in the room. So, and I know authors love to work, a lot of them love to work with classrooms. And I will say that some will charge for it, some will not. Some will send out a book to the classroom and ask for a review on Amazon or share with your friends type situation. I would say if you're going to do one-to-one, virtual field trips, that you just want to make that clear, what's expected of you. Like I said, some will do them for free, where we just get on a Zoom, you book it normally through your website, you find a time that works, and the classroom just comes on at the same time, and it's like a 30 to 45 minute experience. And so those are things that I can definitely help facilitate within, because a lot of times I can just put out, hey, I've got, an author that this is what their book about. This is, and April and I have been talking about doing an author spotlight too, like a promo video for your book. And it would go on my YouTube channel as a promo out to that audience that's already built there, and able to see that book and promo a group virtual field trip or a one-to-one field trip, right. Or, how can they connect with you?
That multiple classrooms are able to sign up for that field trip and participate. And maybe even there's some gamification, and they're playing against each other and see, whichever classroom wins, gets something special, whatever that. And from the author perspective, one would hope, right, that this is going to lead to classrooms buying the book for the class, or, maybe it comes with a package where everybody gets an ebook on their iPad. I don't know quite how we're going to plug in the business side, right? How do we monetize this and make sure it's selling more books? I know for now, what my biggest thing is bringing the spotlight on the independent authors, breaking into that education arena. I want to see our books on teacher picks with Amazon. I want to see them talking about the books and the things we create, and to really start spreading the word among the teacher groups.
Yep. And I think too, we had talked about just having, a directory of independent authors that is getting out to teachers, because there are links that I can click on that are just author virtual field trips, and We Are Teachers, which is a big teacher blog, they have one. And so, they've got the well-named ones, the ones that do authors, but there's no reason that we can't do that and be publishing it out to the teacher groups that I know, and then sharing it, because it never fails that as soon as I do a virtual field trip with someone, the teacher down the hall is saying, well, can you find us one? I'm doing this. It never fails. And so having a directory of not only authors who are willing to do it, but then the curriculum, like fear-based books, or ones that deal with failure, ones that deal with, whatever the topic may be. And then here's what it is. And here are the authors that you can connect with, or here are the books that teach that. Oh, and by the way, here's lesson plans that they already have done. Here's the activities they already have done. If we just make that a one-stop shop, for teachers to just go there for every topic, because I'm sure you have an array of topics just in this room tonight. Yeah. So, creating those directories, and I think we're just constantly bridging that connection. And it makes sense for my audience, like I was saying to April when we had talked earlier, that my audience is looking to me to bring virtual field trips in, looking to me to bring tech activities in. So it's not like I'm bringing them something that they're not used to. Like I've already warmed that audience up to exactly what we're looking to do. So that's exciting too, that it just aligns so nicely.
You are so connected with these teacher groups. Do you have kind of a sense as you look at the horizon, okay, on month, March or whatever, they're going to be covering these topics, these standards. So we need to align, books that go along with that. And so that we can actually be feeding them exactly what they need to meet their goals and standards for, month by month.
Right, exactly. Now, every school is going to have a different curriculum that they follow, but that's just connecting and knowing, yes, a lot of them. So I will say a lot of them that use their reading and grammar, they will pick like a topic, like stories long ago is one of the themes for this reading comprehension. And so then it's up to the teacher to go find stories long ago or connect pieces with that, And so what it's trying to do, though, is it's not like they're learning about stories. They want to use stories for their context so they can assess for comprehension, assess for understanding around just text, if that makes sense. So a lot of times they just need the text to then see if students can inference from that text, to see if they can understand a plot, to see if they can, that sort of thing, if that makes sense. There are plenty of curriculums. Like I said, there's so many curriculums, but yes, most of them follow kind of the same path.
It could also be really huge for homeschoolers as well.
Yes. Yep. And also parents. I mean, yeah, we're really not excluding parents because my kids at home, they love to play Blook-It. And what's so cool is we'll have a Blook-It night and my parents will play. Grandma Great will play, who's 80. She plays Blook-It with us, So my parents will, me and my husband will. Our 3 kids, who's 4, he normally plays with me. 4's kind of, I'd say like 5, 6, you're okay. But 4 is a little bit. Anyway, my 7-year-olds, my twin 7-year-olds who are in first grade, they play, they love it. They make their own Blook-Its. The cool thing is that everybody's on the same playing field because it has that luck piece involved and anyone can win at any time. And we always just play like simple addition as the question sets or something along those lines. But it's so cool to bring a family together. We've even done what would be really cool. Actually, schools are always looking. I just thought of this. New ideas, April. Schools are doing title nights and they're based around reading and math. And so most of them are required to do 2 to 4 a year. They're family nights. And so we could definitely base a reading night around a book and then play the Blook-It on it. And that's what we just did. It wasn't around a book that night we did it, but about a month ago, we did a Blook-It family fun night and they loved it. And then all the schools I was connected with, hey, can you get us doing that? How did you do that? Will you tell us how to do it? And so I just thought, yeah, we could totally do that with a book.
Right.
That would be really cool. That because it matches and aligns perfectly with reading with what they're supposed to be doing. So that would be cool.
Sure. Let's all play.
Yeah. Let me share my screen with you. And you will just need a device in front of you. This can just be another tab. It can be your phone too. It can just be another tab on your computer. So this is the inside, and I'll do the setup quite quickly. So this is the inside of Blook-It where teachers would go. They would go in and discover a question set so they could go and search your book. But the ones that we've already created inside of Kid Lit Club, this is where all of your books would be housed inside of here. So if a teacher was looking, they'd see all of your thumbnails and be able to pick them. The other thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that there's a couple different question sets for each book. So like this one is about the main ideas and characters. This one, I've pulled out the vocab words. We'll probably do another one where both of those are together, like a comprehension one. And then maybe we were going to do one more. I'm going to dive into the book more to decide what that could mean. It could be just inferencing. It could be a math integration. Maybe your book has a lot of math components to it, and we can have a math Blook-It. It could be a real life application. It also, I would like to look at leveling them with Bloom's taxonomy. And so making sure that we're hitting all those different things that teachers want to do, and they have to differentiate anyways. So I'm just going to say host. We're going to play the vocab words one, just in case we all haven't read the book yet. So I'm going to say host. The cool thing is that it's not just one game that these teachers can play with the question set that we've created, the vocab. There's so many different gameplays that they can do. So it keeps everything fresh. They could play the same question set 12 different times, it looks like, in the number of games that they have. And it would be different every time because this is the game that they're playing. They also do seasonal ones. So that's really cool. There'll be a Christmas one coming up soon. And so that one is fun to play. We're going to do Gold Quest tonight just to keep it moving along. I'm going to say host and get you all in here. And then we are going to play. These are just settings. I'm going to do, just in the interest of time, I'm just going to knock this down to 5 minutes, and then I'm going to let you in. So you are going to play.blookit.com, either on another tab or on your phone. You can go right on your phone. You do not need the app. You do not need a login. So that's really cool. And teachers love that too. That's what I love, to bring a game to a teacher or a tool to a teacher where I say, your students don't need an account. Excellent. They don't have to go through that login process. And then you also don't need an app. So you're going to go to play.blookit.com. It's going to ask you for a game ID, and Ken's already in, so it must have been that simple. Good, unique beast. I love it. And you're going to put in your game ID, and then you're going to choose a nickname for yourself. And I can actually copy this join link too if you're having trouble. Let me just do that. That'll bring you right to our game if you don't want to go to play.blookit.com. So the other thing you'll notice is that we are connecting from everywhere. So this is homeschool connection. This is what I want to say. When you're having to do distance learning, there's the word. I haven't had to say it in a while. Or there's a lot of online schools right now. And this is all something too that I troubleshoot with teachers. So I have kind of a guide created for Blookit that I would share with you and share with authors that are using Blookit so they can include that in their information. I will say, though, it is a setting for teachers that we can play this anonymously. So if there is ever an issue in the classroom where I don't want students to know who is who, because there are options where they can take coins from other players or swap. And if that classroom just cannot handle it, then we just put on anonymous play. They also can come in here, and if someone had an inappropriate nickname, I can just click on them and they get booted out and they got to try again. So students that play with me, they know that I will boot them if they come in with something not so nice. So they rarely try it anymore. These blooks, you can also change your little character. So you can click on the character on your phone. You just click, I think it says change blook underneath, and you click on that face and you can click a new little character. And the kids love this. Once the teacher starts playing with them more and they really start to like the Blookit activity, then if they want, students can get their own accounts, and then they earn different blooks, and they get so excited to unlock those exclusive blooks. Okay, so I'm going to get this going. If you get booted out at any time, this will be in the upper right-hand corner, I believe. And you can join at any time too. So if you get booted, no worries. So, okay, so here we go. I'm going to start it. It's going to give us the instructions on the screen here. And then once the instructions are done on my main screen, you're going to see the question sets come up, and you're going to compete. You're going to answer a question, get it right, open a chest, and it's going to have something, either good or bad. So good luck, answer questions, select the chests, collect the gold, take gold from others, and most gold after 5 minutes wins. So good luck. Now you are on your screens or on your tab, and you are playing the Blookit game. So this is a question set from Puppy Playdate, or I keep calling it Playdate, Puppy Pickup Day. And Unique Beast already came out with 100 gold. So you can see on my screen, if you can see my screen at all, that's like the teacher's leaderboard. And you can see how this is super interactive for students learning about your book, learning the comprehension pieces and those vocab things. So, and Unique Beast is still holding the top spot till Kevin just took the lead. Getting something. I'm going to check the chat while you guys are playing the game. And what's so cool is that even if you got booted, it's no problem. You can jump back in, and within like a minute left, you could get an open the chest that says swap with the leader, and all of a sudden you're back in the game. So that's what I really enjoy about Blookit. Anyone can win at any time. And so it doesn't differentiate or put any student that's maybe lower academics at a disadvantage. I would do a refresh if you're not seeing questions, and then come back in with a minute to go and get to the top of the leaderboard. We'll see if it'll happen. So you can feel the excitement when you get more gold or when you swap with the leader. Like you can just see how that would be so exciting for kids in their classroom to just be competing, friendly competition, and then also kind of like when you get gold stole from you, you're like, what? And it is that exact response in the classroom. And so it's a great time for us to talk about competitive play and appropriateness and how we're just here to have fun, with these games, but also sportsmanship. And so when we're starting that as a young age, it's really fun to hear kids say, oh, sorry, Johnny, I had to take from you. It gave me that option. It's just so cute for them to have that empathy. And we're developing that sportsmanship at a young age. So think of these bookets. Teachers are already using these for multiple subjects. We use for math quite a bit. You can create a question set on anything. And so your books are no different. You can have question sets created around your books. And Rick is in the lead with 8 seconds to go. If he can hold that spot, that is the question. Let's see who won it. So I've got Jamie in third, Rick in second, and C Shark takes the lead at the very end. So yeah, you can see as soon as we end this game, exactly what those kids are saying. They're like, can we play another one? Can we play another one? Is anyone else wanting to play another one here? Right? With any question set. So you can see the excitement that happens in the classroom around just a Blooket. And so, they're excited about what the question sets are, but they just want to play the game. And so, but they want to get the questions right. So it's important that the comprehension is there, all that good stuff. I'm just going to show you the report that we get as a teacher so you can kind of see the behind the scenes. This is showing me that 91% of the questions that were answered, so 510, you got correct. So I would say as a teacher, I would be pretty pleased with these results. That, we've got 90%. The other thing that I can go and see is I can look at them individually. So even though Jamie never missed a question, it depended on the game that won the competition. Okay, so I can go in here and I can see which 7 C Shark got wrong and see if I need to go help that specific student. The other thing that I really like is I can go question by question. So what does the word doodles mean? This could be confusing. Because it is talking about a dog. We want to make sure that they're making that connection back to it. But so you can go question by question, but and I see one here, 10 out of 18. What does the word pickup mean in the book? To go get from a place, to go pick up from a place. So this may tell us as the creator that we need to go firm up that question, that maybe it wasn't worded well, or it might tell us as the teacher that we don't know what the word pickup means, okay? It could be 2 things, whether you're looking at it as a creator or a teacher, but I can just click this incorrect percentage, and this tells the teacher exactly what they need to go focus back on. These questions right here, I'm going to bring those to the forefront of my next conversations. So that was 5 minutes of Blooket. And so you can see the excitement that you guys were, I hope you were excited playing it. I know we get excited to play it too. The other thing is that it can be discovered on its own too. So it can be discovered that, and I was talking with April about this, that I'm going to SEO search what teachers are searching for when they're looking for book related activities like on these platforms. And we'll probably add something in the title of it and kind of get a keyword that they can just be searching for it. Once it's built big enough, then we will just promote Kidlit Club that these are independent authors that have Blooket activities. And so they will go to that directory to be like, oh, well, which book am I doing next? Well, here it is. Because
I love the idea of, pre-vetted, high quality educational materials by independent authors. And independent authors need their support, and they want to be there to support the teachers. So I think it's a very symbiotic relationship.
You can buy Kahoots. That is almost more the norm on Kahoot now. You can still find free ones, but yes, it is becoming more normal on the Kahoot side that you could buy a question set. Yep. And the teacher would buy that through their account. You would set up the price, or what we probably would do if we started getting into that paid piece of it, we'd have to decide, how that would work, because we want it to all be on one account for that exposure piece. So we'd have to decide how that works, or how that payout could work with Kahoot. Blooket, I have not, I know that I've seen paid ones now, but it's just not as common. So I'm not sure how that's going to pan out with Blooket.
Yeah, we were also talking about, Jacey, allowing people to earn badges or extra Blookets and, like the Blooket icons. So we could actually even put like a higher level thing where kids can earn, or classrooms can earn the badges or things that come from the Kidlet Club. And, this can go so much farther than we're thinking right now. I think the sky's the limit, and it's just a matter of doing a proof of concept and making sure that it is indeed valuable, both to the teachers and the educators, as well as the authors.
Right. Blooket specifically has reached out to me through my YouTube channel, and they're like, and I've connected with them a couple of times. So I think that they would be, this might be an idea that they want to take forward too, and have their own book for independent authors for this, so like I said, I think there's collaborations there, and I think we build it and keep exploring those opportunities on how it can be spread. So does speed determine who wins? In some games, yes. In not all the games, though. So we're leveling the playing field there. Kahoot, definitely. It matters who answers the quickest. They have to be right, though. If they're not right, 0 points on that question. It's also teacher paced. So Blooket, you saw where you just went to the next question. Rapid fire questions. Blooket is one question at a time. Everybody answers. Teacher gets to talk about it. Move on to question 2. Everybody answers. Kids get their points. Teacher talks about it. Move on.
I see.
There is a difference there with that. And it's actually one of my more popular YouTube videos, that what's the difference between Kahoot and Blooket. So if you wanted to see the difference and see some gameplay inside of both of them, that is a popular video that teachers are asking for, which is another proof of concept for us that, I think it's got like 11,000 views or something, which is pretty good for my size channel, that they're looking for Kahoot and Blooket and trying to figure out which is best.
So let's talk about, since everybody is asking the same question, how much it costs to get my book done?
Sure. Yeah. So, okay, let me jump on over to that. So what I'm looking at, I've got a couple different options for us, because I know that some of you already have things created, or you're just looking to gamify in some way. I want to really learn about your books and really, understand where you were when you were writing it, what your hopes were for it, what the information, putting out to students was, and to teachers. And I know you weren't just writing for students, but children. I want to learn about those themes and then take it from an education standpoint and how we can do it. So this first pack, I've got 2 different packs and then an add-on if you want. So this first one is just a tech pack. These are 12 gamified activities, and it would consist of 4 different question sets. So we saw 2. We saw the vocab, and then we also saw the main idea and characters question sets. So that's what I'm saying when I say question sets. Those are developed from your book based around a specific topic or a specific theme or comprehension or differentiation level, those type of things. You're going to get 4 question sets. And then what I'm going to do with each of those question sets is they're going to be immersed into Blooket, Kahoot, and Formative. So they're going to have a number of ways to play with these different question sets. And then this tech pack would also include 2 one-to-one Zoom calls. In the first call, we're just going to plan it. I'm going to learn about your book, learn about the themes, and then I'm going to complement the assets that you already have created. So I'm definitely going to ask, what have you already invested in? And how can we make sure that this aligns with that or complements it and enhances it in some way, if that makes sense there. And then the other thing that I want to do is I want to create, as I work with more authors, create this tech help library for teachers. So it can be like an extra help. Like, how can a teacher start a Blooket? If they've never used a Blooket before, here's the instructions on how to use it, or here's the help video and a troubleshooting guide. So I take that tech piece off of your hands and put it into this troubleshooting guide so teachers are able to use it if they haven't already used it. A lot of the teachers are already using these. So a lot of them will be like, oh, sweet, they've got a Blooket game with it. Jump on their Blooket and they're off and running. Some of them maybe haven't heard maybe a formative. And this one is, it could be for younger ones. I kind of see it maybe you could use it with a first grade group, maybe second grade and up, but these Blookets and Kahoots can definitely hit those younger grades. So I want to create that tech help library for the teachers. So we're looking at 12 gamified activities, the Zoom call, and that tech help library. And I would be at $3.99 to create that for your book. Mm-hmm. So that's that first pack. And again, it's exactly matched for your book, right? This is a collaboration between you and me to make sure we're getting it right. The next option would include the tech pack that we just talked about, but I'll say it's tech pack plus. So you're getting the 12 activities, the 2 calls, the tech library, and then I'm going to add the lesson slides to your Kahoot activities. So the lesson plans that I'll create, they will also now be Kahoot lessons. They'll include step-by-step instructions, when to use the activities, how to use the activities. They'll be aligned with the essential questions, the standards, all the curriculum side of it. Those lesson plans will be aligned with. So we'll be able to hand it to the teacher and they'll be like, oh, my essential question is this. This is what they need to know. And then I will have a lesson slide presentation, either Google Slides or PowerPoint. They'll receive both. And they can present this to their students with visuals. And then the slide will come up and it will be like, now watch the read aloud. And they'll click on the video. It'll be right inside the presentation. And the lesson plan will say that, that this is a step that we're on. So they're all aligning. They're all coming together. And what we're creating for teachers is we're creating the presentation, the lesson plan, and the activities that all come together around your one book, if that makes sense. So we're aligning everything. We're also going to create some simple printable activities. So these a lot of times are black and white for teachers or really low color because we kind of get a slap on the wrist as teachers when we print a lot of color because it costs like 3 to 4 times. And then you take it times the number of students in our class and then the, number of pages that it is. And all of a sudden we've, had 200 pages of color for one assignment. So I try to really make them black and white for those worksheets just to kind of help with that because I know the back end of that. So they're not super high color, but they're really simple. They're not distracting, really simple worksheets and activities. These could be reflection questions. These could be draw a picture, write an explanation, or those exit tickets. And exit tickets are it could be 3 questions at the end of a lesson to make sure that our students learned. If we're not using technology, students can hand these in at the end of the day, at the end of the hour, at the end of the lesson, and I can go through them as a teacher and know that they've learned. Mm-hmm. Some teachers, they just want these printable activities, and others will want that tech piece to it. I do see more of them going to that tech piece, but that doesn't mean that they're getting rid of these worksheet type pieces as well. So it's a healthy combination of the tech pack and the lesson plans, the lesson slides for 3 different lessons based on the themes, based on a standard, that sort of thing. And then the slide presentations with those printable activities. The number of printable activities will depend on the lesson and what I feel, is needed there. And we can talk about that if you've got ideas for that. So this price, though, includes the tech pack. So this is not in addition to the tech pack. This price includes the tech pack. And I'm at $7.99 for you to buy the classroom pack. So includes the tech pack, plus the lesson plans, plus the presentations, plus the printable activities. And then the next option that you can have is the video add-on. And with this one, we're going to gamify your read aloud. So if you already have a read aloud, I'm going to create an ed puzzle around that where I put the questions inside of your video where they pop up at a certain time. The book reads a little bit and then it stops and the students get a question and they're able to answer that question. Teacher gets the feedback, students are engaged. And we've just gamified your video read aloud. So you're going to get that, answering that interactive question. We're also going to do an author spotlight interview. So this is basically a book promo for your book. This is where you're going to be able to tell us what it's about. You're going to be able to tell us, what you were thinking as you wrote it, promoting that book. You're going to be able to tell us, who is this great for? What ages is this great for? What type of themes do you talk about in the book? And so you're going to be able to promote that through an interview style. And then it's going to go on my integrated teacher YouTube channel with the idea around promoting that video to teachers already on that channel. Of course, behind the scenes, anytime I put out a video, it's going to go out on my email list, which is about 2,000 plus teachers on that list right now, and it continues to grow daily. So it's going to go out in an email. It's also going to go out onto my social books, probably even do a YouTube short around it to get some more media for you. And these are definitely things that you can use as promos embedded on your websites as well, that you were featured on Integrated Teacher YouTube channel. Like we can take this bigger. And it is a pre-recorded video interview, and then I will edit it. We found that the pre-recorded videos do better than the live videos, the live streams, for whatever reason. So the cool thing is when teachers come to my channel, they're also going to see a thumbnail that says author spotlight. They'll be like, oh, cool. What's this? This is new. But it's like, oh, I want to do an author virtual field trip, or I want to learn about that book. And so they're already coming to me for tech and virtual field trips. And now we're going to sprinkle in some author spotlight interviews. I'm also going to host a live author virtual field trip for you. So this is where I'm going to be able to have multiple classes sign up for this field trip. You're going to come on and present to multiple classes at one time. You're going to read the book. You can share about being an author. You can answer student questions live and then play the Book It game together. And that I've had, what did we have the last time? I think it was about 10 classrooms from all over the United States. It was so much fun. And the kids were so excited to play. There was 300 kids on this one Book It game. It was just insanity, but they were so stoked. And so we'd be able to play that Book It game around your book. And that would just be so awesome. And then the other thing with that is I'm going to help facilitate those one-to-one author virtual field trips. So I'm going to be able to promote this book has these themes. Who's looking for those type of virtual field trips? Who's looking for those experiences? We're going to create that author virtual field trip directory, the one-to-one class connections. I can help you, with what to present, how to get connected with those teachers. And then also, talk about, like I said, you decide the compensation. Some of them do it for free. Some do it for $25. Some do it for a book review. Some do it for $125. That's up to you. And we can talk about, what would make sense. And maybe you do a couple to get started. You decide to pay for them in the end. It's just all about making those connections and using the promo the influence that I have with teachers as your promo to move the book forward. So that video add-on is $3.99 for me to gamify that Ed Puzzle activity, us to do the author spotlight. So that is a video that's pre-recorded, and then I edit it. I set up this live author virtual field trip, which is multiple classes all together coming in on this one. So that's a lot of legwork, like April knows. She's setting up an event right now. It's like that. It's its own little event. And then I can help facilitate with these one-to-one virtual field trips and also having that directory available for teachers. So you've got a tech pack, you've got the classroom pack, and then you have got the option to have that video add-on. So again, this price includes this tech pack. These two are not in addition to each other in price. So Tech Pack Plus is with the Classroom Pack. And if you wanted to do it all, then you would look at this Classroom Pack and decide if you want that video add-on.
People are asking, how did they get in touch with you, Jacey, to move forward? People are ready to get started, want to really learn more. And you'll find a very high quality YouTube channel there with Jacey. I highly recommend subscribing to that channel and following along with some of the stuff that she's doing. It's just really serves the teachers very well.
I dropped my email in the chat, jacey@integratedteacher.com.
And if they want to set up a consult with you, they would just send you an email. You don't have...
I think that would be easiest. Yeah. Basically where we would start is connecting with you, getting your ideas of what you're thinking. I work in the schools every week. And so it depends on, like, if you're just looking at this tech pack, you're going to have a faster turnaround because that's me developing the questions. You might already have questions that you're working with and you want to see those incorporated in the games. But this is creating that question set from an educational standpoint here, those 4 question sets. and they'll be differentiated. It could be by skill level, could be by that learning objective, by vocabulary. So if you're just looking at this tech pack, we're probably like a month turnaround, maybe a little less. We'll say 3 to 4 weeks by the time I develop those question sets for you, because they're about 20 to 25 questions. And I want to make sure that they all align back to that objective that we're doing with the question set. It's also, we're going to get 2 Zoom calls in that time. So it comes down to scheduling a little bit too, when we can meet and get together. So if we can align that really quickly, then a 3 to 4 week turnaround, or at 4 weeks, I'm scheduling your second call because I'm done with it and ready to present it to you. That's about where I'm at. If we're looking at this full classroom pack, that's going to be full lesson plans. And like I said, it just depends on the influx that is thrown at me right away. I'm going to, I need to block time to make sure that that's happening. And so lesson plans are much more intensive. The presentations, the activities, they just take longer to develop. And so you might be more at that, 6 to 8 weeks time frame. It also may include another Zoom that I get most of the way through, but I want to meet with you again. And I want to make sure that this is what you were thinking, or this is how it's coming out, if that makes sense. And so you might be more on that 6 to 8 week timeline if we're doing that full classroom pack. Adding this add-on, with the tech pack or the video add-on, the reason that we want to have that tech pack done, that this is an add-on for the tech pack or the classroom pack, is because when we do these virtual field trips, we want to point back to that, pre-game that we've already created. So they have those resources, and then get that author spotlight video done and gamify your read aloud. So that one, with the tech pack, both of them, then you're probably that 6 to 8 weeks. If you're doing like tech pack and video add-on. If we're doing the whole package, it's probably still in that 6 to 8 weeks, because I would just hammer down on your book specifically, And so, like I said,
it might make sense if we've got enough people interested to really consider doing a workshop.
Sure. Yep. And that's fine too. And what that workshop would be, it really probably wouldn't be on creating lesson plans. That's more like an educational background thing. It would be about creating these gamified activities, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. And maybe a little bit, another one could be, how to run and author a virtual author field trip. And so, that's definitely an option with a workshop.
This has been really fantastic conversation. I think there's a great opportunity. Jacey, thank you so much for being here with us. Take care. Have a good night, everybody.